With Visions of Eternity just under a week away, now seems like the right time to bring our exploration of Janthir Wilds' hidden story to its end. As some of you may know, this video has taken a little longer than expected to complete. While I love this story in its essence, the way it's told has only gotten messier with each consecutive patch. The journals we will explore from here lack the clarity of ones prior, and some of them require jumping back and forth between releases to figure out the chronology of events. So before we get started, a little request from me. The text we're working with from this point is fragmented at best, which means the story I'm about to tell you relies heavily on my own interpretation. When we get to these more fractured moments, I'll be sure to let you know. And besides, I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts down below. With that said, let's get a quick refresher on what the Janthir Wilds story has set up so far. Cardicus the Wise, having escaped his captivity in Divinity's Reach during Living World Season 3, flees up north to the Isles of Janthir with a small group of his most trusted associates. Following the trail of the White Mantle's founder, Saul D'Alessio, they come across the ruins of Gavril, a town of ex-convicts that seems to be ruled over by the White Mantle itself as they secretly sacrifice the townsfolk to their unseen gods. Within the shattered walls, Cardicus finds evidence that Saul had been invited to the Masat home city, the city of Bavanissos. Cardicus, enthused by this, starts the search to find this lost city in the hopes he'll be rewarded with the power he needs to overthrow Queen Jenna of Kryta and take Divinity's Reach for himself. His pilgrimage, however, comes to an early end when he's called back to Kryta to participate in the war directly, choosing to leave 3 of his entourage, Ulrich, Tatiana, and Judge, to continue to search for him. Cardicus dies in that war at the hands of the Pact commander, and 6 years pass as the poor few left in the north continue his search. On one cold, misty day, as the Masat Mabon dies, the isle seems to shudder, the illusion hiding the lost city shatters. We rejoin these unlucky 3 as they prepare to set sail. We waited a couple days to make sure that the Kodam were gone, but as soon as the coast was clear, we headed back to the northern shore with sacks of food and supplies. We had to test Tatiana's theory. I rode right into the bay, no headaches or nosebleeds. The clouds even parted, revealing just enough sun to light my path. It was as if Saul himself looked upon us. I gathered the others and we departed. We found it. Bavanissos. The renewed sense of purpose is both sickening in how overwhelmed I feel, but also exciting in how quickly it's renewed our purpose. Tatiana needs time to recover from the voyage. The sea is not her ally, so we've settled in one of the safer ruins. We've been here for a few days now, and neither she nor Judge have strayed far from our new refuge yet. Bavanissos is more dangerous than what we're used to, and edible food is far scarcer. I think they miss our makeshift home back in the bay, and I do as well. But our mission's more important now. I'm getting more comfortable venturing into the ruins on my own, but strange beasts that I've never encountered before plague Bavanissos. They're menacing, with a distorted appearance that's challenging to describe. I've never seen anything like them. They appear to be coming from somewhere to the east, and they venture farther and farther west each day. Judge was able to kill a smaller one and carve it for meat, but none of us can stomach the smell. Their bodies rot quickly after death, as if their flesh is suddenly incompatible with our air. Whatever these things are, they're not natural. Tatiana swears we're being watched now. She refuses to take a watch post on her own, especially after dark. She claims that it is the unseen ones, here to give us a message, but neither Judge or I have heard the same. Her faith is strong, so I'm sure her heart is earnest, but I worry that our musty surroundings and lack of meat have made her ill. She paces and mumbles to herself. We used to enjoy our time together, but now she can't hold eye contact. The place they find is nothing like Saul described. Its once golden walls now faded away to crumbling grey ruins. The wildlife as well seems affected by this degeneration. It is aggressive and wild, its form warped by some unknown presence. And as if to only make things worse, something is starting to talk to Tatiana. Be it god, man, or beast, this is no place to linger. Judge and I have made the most mystifying discovery. After a quake in the earth, a pathway to the Unseen One's grand library was revealed. While Tatiana rested at her camp in the eastern ruins, Judge and I made our way inside. While most of the documents are written in a language neither of us can comprehend, some of the less dated tomes are written in common Crichton. Perhaps left for us, mercenaries of divine change. Oh Saul, we hear you, we see you. Our gods, the unseen ones, I've found their name. They were called the Masat. I feel as if the purpose of this life is unfurled in front of me. This city, their city, houses a gate to another plane. This is what the Confessor sent me to find. This is how we assure his victory. My efforts have completely shifted to finding a path into the city proper, so I can locate this gate and end the war. But Tatiana grows angrier by the day and Judge more solemn, so I continue to encourage them that this is the way, that this is our path, and we cannot step out of place. Those peaceful days we've shared together were kind, but those days are done. I finally found a pathway into the city depths. Another quake revealed the path. It goes down deep into the mountain, even I haven't traveled too far yet. It looks treacherous, but my fear is validation. Tatiana and Judge are nervous, but they're more motivated than weeks past, although I struggle to identify whether they're motivated by the Confessor's mission or by wanting to end it. We'll spend a few days preparing, then we will march downward. Notes left in the library deep in the nexus of moonlight speak of a gate locked at the center above Anisos. Hidden amongst its twisting hallways and haunted vistas is what the Massart refer to as the Mist's Gate, a gate which they were desperately trying to open, desperately trying to flee back to their homeworld of Niles before the Titan threat loomed. As the group descends into the city, they find that whatever had affected the wildlife seems to have had effect on the city itself. Its walls crumbled, its magic faded, and the city itself seems to have warped with age. They know not why. At last, we've settled in Bavanisos. Though the journey here proved a test of tenacity, I welcome the change of scenery and revere these hallowed grounds upon which Saul himself stood. Auric and Tatiana, on the other hand, seem preoccupied only with corporeal cravings, fearing food scarcity. I'm no stranger to hunger, having spent long stretches of my youth plagued by hunger pangs. Even after joining the White Mantle, I continued the act of fasting as an exercise in self-discipline, a practice I'm now especially grateful for. Going without is a lesson that many of our own could stand to learn, our current leader included. Though he dared not say it to my face, I sensed Cardicus's irritation with my reticence to prepare meals of animal fare. He mistook principles as weakness, a weak stomach for hunting, as he put it. I would accuse him of the same with one amendment. His stomach is hardly where his weakness ends, but that ceases to be of a bother as long as Cardicus ceases to return. Knowing his history of cowardice, I do not know why the others expect a reply to their letters, let alone his prodigal return. And for what does it matter? It is we who have withered the pilgrimage, who truly walk Saul's path, a glory Cardicus knows not, and one I suspect is just as destiny has written it. Regardless, Auric has taken our discovery of Bavanisos as proof of Cardicus's righteous authority. I begin the newest chapter of this journey with a prayer of my own creation. When faced with earthly strife, may it remind me of my vow to know what cannot be unknown, and to see what cannot be unseen. To the bringers of wisdom, bestow upon me your eternal flame of light unseen, that I may sheath it against the hollow breath of dissent, and carry its glow to those few chosen to bear it witness. The tithe to bask in its gift be not the burning of flesh, but the illumination of the soul. It seems the young urchin judge has built a bit of an ego in the years we've been away. His faith has distorted into a false sense of superiority, not entirely unexpected considering the company he was forced to keep. As I'd predicted, our limited food sources have worn down the other two far more quickly than myself. Both chastised my unwillingness to hunt, Tatiana deeming me selfish, Auric muttering some slight under his breath. I told them that if they quit wasting their energy whining about hunger pangs, they'd be faring far better. I'd shut them up for now at least, though I've mostly chosen to keep to myself. I, on the other hand, find the pain an ideal anchor for meditation, and for cultivating that state of clarity I credit for what happened next. Late last night, from somewhere across the vast expanse of dark, I heard a call. Is this what Tatiana claims to hear when Auric and I venture into the ruins and leave her alone? It began as a low rumble. In a state of half-sleep, I mistook it for the early thrums of thunder. Then I started to make out coherent words. Is she not your promise? What you're capable of? Stirring me fully awake, I decided to brave the night. I ventured out, trying to decipher the direction of their source, still unsure if they were a dream or reality. As if to reassure me, the voice called out once more. You're a righteous man. Please, help me. Then silence, save for the howling wind. I lay awake the rest of the night, in something between a meditation and a stupor. But I imagined it. Was this voice the product of an empty stomach, of a lone mind conjuring in a blank chasm? No, it was real. Clear as the toll of a lone bell across the abyss. You are a righteous man. I spent the night pondering the message and its source. As of now, I'm unsure whether to share it with the others. It may be the last words that drive Tatiana mad, and I'm unsure what lengths Auric would go to secure his mission to our false prophet. Beyond this, they don't seem eager to indulge my company. But that's of no importance. My earliest memories onward have been a lone wade through life's flood. Saul too bore the immensity of revelation alone, but rather than hoard its light, he held it before him like a lantern, guiding those around him so they too could see the way. As a vessel of devotion, give me the strength to fulfill my role as guide, to set the unseers upon the right path. May I act as an offering, my body a sacrifice, a transmutation of mortal flesh. I am the votive, the lit flame from which dark bows to light. I chose not, rather I was chosen to illuminate the way. Despite the voices' tempting words, it is not their gods that come to them in the dead of night. The Titan Seaver Saxon, imprisoned here for generations by Mabon, reaches out to them for help. Mabon, overcome by his grief and guilt for having watched his entire race come to an end, comes across this unfortunate Titan. Attempting to show the beast mercy, just as the seer Isgarin had shown to him, he gave the beast a chance to leave, locking down the city for both its protection and the world's. Tragically, the Titan was unable to traverse the Mist's Gate, and as they are known to do, Seavers took on elements of its environment. Being surrounded by so much potent magic, it grew larger by the day, trapped for so long it became one with the city. Seavers, trapped with no chance for escape, trapped until our unlucky few stepped into its halls. After a night of long deliberation, I decided it was my responsibility to share what I'd heard with Ulrich and Tatiana. Unsurprisingly, Ulrich dismissed it as a hunger-induced fever dream, clearly attempting to shield Tatiana's dwindling sanity. She herself seemed intrigued but remained mute during the exchange. So be it. If I am to claim myself a righteous man, I will see to it that they come around in time. Update 1. Things have come to a head. Another argument over food. I'll spare the same rehashed details, but the crux of the argument came when Ulrich blamed my initial reluctance to hunt for contributing to our downfall. He claimed that if we reached Bavanisos in better condition, we'd be better suited to withstand our current scarcity. I'll admit that in a moment of anger, I forgot my vow to guide the ignorant. I shot back that given his inability to withstand even the most minimal of worldly discomforts, he'd never be more than a mere bootlicker, and that his ill state wasn't so much hunger for food as hunger for the scraps of Cardicus's validation. At that, Ulrich accused me of jealousy, going as far as to apologize for Cardicus's dismissive treatment of me. His accusation was so wildly off base I burst into a fit of laughter. He dubbed me out of my mind and stormed off into the night. Now as night descends, Tatiana and I retire in silence, save the occasional sounds of pen on parchment from our respective tents. I've never known her to journal, but I've seen her write to Cardicus. While Ulrich's devotion to him is a cry for validation, Tatiana's is a desperate plea to belong, I can relate to. I saw the same when I joined the White Mantle, the difference being that I retain the ability to question, to think critically. And that is where our paths diverge. In my times of weakness, forgive me for my failures. To treat the hubris of others not as curated malice, but consequence of ignorance. Like Saul himself embodied, none escape this life free of temptation from mortal folly. Be it not a cause for shame, but a source from which understanding springs. Update 2. He calls upon me once more in the dead of night. My last hope left me here to rot. Please, help me. Closer. Come closer. I must seek him. Our fates have become entwined. Judge's initial hesitation to tell Tatiana may not have been without merit. This discarded note found deep in the belly of the beast gives us a look into her fractured mind, documenting her downfall as she falls deeper into the Titan's control. Ulrich and Judge are staring at me right now, so they can't look away. I can tell they're disappointed in me, poor Tatiana with her untamed hair and chewed nails, and her whispering and her breathing and hunger. Look at her ribs and her eyes and the dirt on her clothes. Look at her wither and rot. Their eyes are filled with thoughts and resentment, but I do not care. It is fine because I found 6 rocks and lined them up in a row. 6 days until he saves us, until he rewards my devotion. I think I will eat one each day to show him that I am ready to ground my body to this place. I don't need food or Ulrich or Judge to keep me alive. I heard Ulrich call me delicate behind my back. They forget that I have ears and that I listen. But it is they who are ignorant. It is not Saul or Cardicus who guides us here. They were simply a conduit to a greater plan, and I am now its vassal. I'll be welcomed into his arms and all will be well. It'll be warm and there'll be enough food to live for the rest of my life. I will see my sister and brother, and Ulrich and Judge will stop staring at me. I'll be the last happy one. Unlike Judge, it is not ego that Sivas pulls on this time. As with Carticus, Tatiana's need to belong has always been her weakness, and it seems her need to find a family is what the Titan now uses to pull her forward. She becomes his most faithful. We do not know exactly why Tatiana was estranged from her brother and sister. Was it due to her fanaticism driving them away, or did they simply pass on? If it was, in fact, the latter, it seems she would find herself joining them soon. Update 2. He calls upon me once more in the dead of night. My last hope left me here to rot. Please, help me. Closer. Come closer. I must seek him. Our fates have become entwined. The voice of fate calls upon me to see the journey of the unseen to eternal fruition. So with tomorrow's sun dawns a new era. Anointed by its rays we venture forth, 3 pilgrims whose destinies entwine to weave a transcendent tapestry of the divine. Ulrich returned. His alone communions with the wild rarely last long. He spoke little, and so he went on preparing a meager supper as if nothing had come to pass. We ate mostly in silence. That is, until the fire began to dwindle. Out of the dark, the voice called onto them. For it was they who had been chosen to realize the mission of the unseen ones. And thus it spoke to them. Chosen 3, you are destined. Seek the gate. As the sun dawns across the wilds, you shall hear my voice, and I will be your guide. You who must open the gate, so fate has written it, so make it be. To think mere hours ago our vision was clouded by woes ephemeral. We're so close. Though I can't recall my last full meal, my mind has never felt so sated. The gate at the center of Bavanisos, the one the Massad wished to flee to their homeworld through, could be used for other means. Sivas wished to open the gate to the domain of anguish, the place of Titan origin, the foundry of felled creations. Yet he would not flee. Titans, you see, are not born like you or I. They are instead forged through the warping of lost and tormented souls. This is why Sivas had drawn them here. This is his plan to get revenge, to create an army. We hear him. His voice is soft like moss, yet sound like the rock which it grows. Like a low hum carried by the wind, it sings to us, beckons us forth. We must follow. The first step towards the epochal end. Fate has written it. It is only a matter of time now. Truly enraptured, they set forth, both Judge and Tatiana truly devoted to the Titan, leaving Ulrich alone in his faith, the only person left alive truly believing in Carticus's design. He leaves us this final note. Tatiana isn't mad. We all heard it this time. It told us where to find the gate. Perhaps it is the unseen ones that guide us, but we will venture inside tomorrow. We will complete Carticus's mission and the world will see. They will all see. A dark brown stain is splashed across the bottom of the page. The rest of the script is illegible. And this is where I need to start truly interpreting the story. It is my belief that this is all that remains of Tatiana killing Ulrich. We know from her actions that she has been long ready to die, to ground her body to this place. As she fills her stomach with rocks of the city, she, as the Titan's most faithful, will take them down, offering her companion souls to the Titan, along with her own to be reborn. She would see her brother and sister again. Merging their souls with demonic entities, the 3 twisted white mantle would be reborn as the 3 Titans we'd come to know as Greer, Decima, and Ura, each one of these Titans retaining an element of their original form's personality. Greer, born of Ulrich, maintained his intense hunger. Decima, born of Tatiana's madness, grew obsessed with rock collecting. And Ura, born of the self-righteous Judge, became the most loyal to Sivas, worshipping him intensely as his own need for dominance grew. These 3 would set the events of Janthir Wilds in motion, the rise of the strangers, the attacks on the lowland Kodan, and finally drawing the attention of the Tyrian Alliance. Much later on, as we, the Wayfinder, lead an assault on Mount Bauriel, we take down each of the Titans one by one, severing their twisted souls from their bodies and sending them back to the foundry of felled creations. This, however, would not be the end of their story. Death on Tyria doesn't necessarily mean the end. As we have seen most notably during Living World Season 4 with the return of the long-dead heirs to Gulkin, Gwen, Thackeray, and Snaff, there are still ways for the dead to roam our world. And this here will be my biggest leap so far. As we, the Wayfinder, make our way into Bavanisos, we come across what remains of their camp. We discover the journals left by Tatiana, Judge, and Ulrich, read firsthand how their minds had fractured and how the Titan led them down a dark path. We know how Titans are created. 3 white mantle, 3 Titans. Could it really be that simple? We have little time to dwell on this though as we ready ourselves to assault the citywide Titan. This can be found in the Wayfinder's journal. We arrived at the heart chamber and rushed to Livia's aid. It was soon obvious that in order to stop the constant immune system attacks for good, we needed to find a way to seal the mist gate and stop the flow of magic the sea was feasted on. After clearing another round of enemies, Isgaron tried convincing Livia to sacrifice the Scepter of All, as it seemed the only viable option suited to the task. As might be expected, this suggestion went over like a lead airship. The mist gate reactivated, spitting out hordes of shadow creatures. Strangely enough, the scepter proved ineffective against these creatures during battle, creating a new obstacle. Mid-ambush, the shadow creatures cornered Denise. Before I, or any of the others, even had a chance to react, Poised Arrow sprang into action, guarding Anise against the onslaught. If the cub didn't already have my respect, he sure earned it for his heroism when it was sorely needed. But this was not a time for feel-good celebrations. Just when the ambush seemed to ease, the scepter began trembling in Livia's hands. Suddenly, in an entrance as grand as the wizard himself, Mabon emerged from the mist's gate. This was no dreamlike memory of Mabon. He, or his essence, greeted us with his typical warmth, as if stepping off a Canthan beach. Wasting no time, he cast a ward over the mist gate to prevent more unwelcomed visitors from seeping through, anchoring himself to the spell. We had questions. Fortunately, Mabon had answers he was willing to share. To sum it up, he suspects the 3 Titans we defeated were forged by the souls of the 3 White Mantle members whose camp we discovered earlier. To put an end to the chaos, he believes that we must release their souls from the mists using a touchstone important to each during their lifetimes. My next objective is to track down these touchstones across Tyria. Though Mabon is a powerful wizard, he can't hold the gate closed indefinitely, and so my race against time begins. Livia comes to us with direction from the wizard's court. They have discovered locations that could be connected to our 3 converted White Mantle, Ulrich, Tatiana, and Judge. Following their instructions, we set off to find the touchstones. After some consideration, I decided to make the first stop of my search at Rurikton and Divinity's Reach. Here I found Judge's prayer book. These seemingly innocent prayers are a stark contrast to the more sinister ramblings into which his later work devolved. It's tragic to imagine the life of a young person fueled by a zealous belief in a cause that later uses them as a discardable pawn to realize a vision. Youth is ripe for manipulation. It makes me wonder what wayward paths myself and those I consider friends could have veered down had the wrong influence wrapped its tendrils around us in the times we were most vulnerable. An eye-opening thought surely, but one that's best not to dwell on. Not that I have time to do so. I made my next stop at Waden's Steps in Brisbane Wildlands. Here I was able to locate Tatiana's White Mantle badge. This search for sentimental objects has me wondering what sort of item would represent my life so strongly it could unbind my soul from the depths of the mists. For Tatiana, it seems her badge represented a place of belonging. Although I certainly can't condone the company she kept, I understand how the desire to belong can underpin one's life to such an extent. That's something inherent in us all. But wickedness has a way of preying on such needs and redirecting the pain for its own purposes. This is not all we find, however. This White Mantle appears to have been crushed by the rubble surrounding the body. The man died recently, as the body has yet to show signs of decomposition. The Wayfinder wonders where the rubble could have come from as he finds one final note from Tatiana. A warning. It is done. We've purged this place of unbelievers, every last one of the unfaithful gone. Only 3 of us remain now, Ulrich, Judge, and I. It was not easy. Some of those among the fallen were friends once, but they refused our vision. They wished to give up on our chosen mission, to doubt the undying will of Cardicus even after the noble sacrifice he made for us. They learned the penalty for such abhorrent betrayal, for disloyalty, and now you who reads of our cause know the price of misgiving. With this journal, I leave behind the badge earned by passing my test, along with the others in my cohort of initiates. To accompany it, another surprise should any of our former allies try to find us in this place we once considered sanctuary. The old ways are dead. We 3 shall go forth and chart the future of the White Mantle. Upon our return, you will know the price for that future has been paid in our blood. We will come with cleansing fire. You have been warned. This is the hardest part to fit into the overall story. Some of the text here seems to contradict what we already know, so here's my attempt to fit this together. We know for a fact that this happened recently due to the corpse not showing signs of decomposition. After getting added to at least a few lists by googling how long does it take for a body to show signs of decomposition and how long until bloating starts after death, we know this must have happened within at least the last 5 days. This brings Tatiana's continued devotion to Cardicus into question, but I'm going to rationalize that as her seeing Cardicus as the conduit to a greater plan, as she says in her journal. And that leads to my final interpretation. Sivas, having seen our army at Mount Balrior, is now looking for his own. So he sends the spirits of Tatiana, Ulrich and Judge through a rift to Kryta to lure more souls into his service. Their pleas are denied, and in refusing their service, Tatiana brings down part of the ruins of Bavanisos upon them. We can tell this by the rubble that we find not reflecting anything in the surrounding area, and instead matching the rubble that we pulled down during the assault of the Heart Chamber at the city's center. Whether this was simply punishment for not joining them, or an effective way to gain the souls needed to create the mass of newly born titans we find roaming Bavanisos, I could not say, but I'd like to believe it is. Finally, I made my last stop at the Shire of Beetleton in Queensdale. Here I found a torch gifted to Ulrich by Cardicus. Based on the recounting of their interactions, Ulrich seemed to be something of a favourite to Cardicus. Not sure that's quite the compliment Ulrich would have believed it to be, although Mentor's praise has a way of filling a need for approval, and those who long for such reassurance, perhaps Ulrich sought such validation. But there's no time to wonder. I must return to Mabon with the touchstones and prepare to walk amongst the dead once more. Reaching Mabon at the centre of the city, touchstones in hand, we, alongside our closest allies, stepped through the Mist's Gate. We entered the realm of torment, searching for the tormented souls that are anchored within. Our party varied greatly in their experience within the mists. While the wizards were plenty familiar, this was Poised Arrow's first time in this nightmare. Regardless, the place succeeded in putting everyone thoroughly on edge. To add to the disquiet, we encountered packs of demons roving across the barren abyss. Finally, after navigating the hellscape, we located 3 White Mantle souls. Each soul was merged with a demonic entity, a clear indicator of how the 3 titans had been formed. We fought each of the tormented souls, weakening them to their most vulnerable states to maximize the touchstone's efficacy. The souls' wicked taunts made it easy to forego sympathy for bludgeoning them to bits. Finally, after a trying effort, we managed to release all 3 of the souls. Once successful, we returned to Mabon, and he prepared to seal the Mist Gate from within for good. Our goodbye was an emotional one. It was gratifying to see Waiting Sorrow finally given the opportunity to say a proper goodbye, and Isgaran, well, he betrayed the most genuine expression of care for a friend that we've ever seen him display. I gave my word that I would trust in Isgaran as we continued our work for Tyria's well-being, and I meant it. With that, Mabon took the Scepter of Ore from a resigned but accepting Livia and sealed the Mist Gate. A parting, every bit as painful as the original, but this time tinged with the bittersweet closure that comes with saying goodbye. And with that, our story comes to an end. Our 3 tormented souls finally put to rest after their almost decade-long pilgrimage. This story was intense to try and put together. While I think it was telling something brilliant in execution, it failed to come together. I hope what I've pieced together today will help you find more satisfaction in the expansion's conclusion, and if you know something I do not or have your own thoughts to share on the subject, I'd love to see them down below. This was a huge project, and honestly, it was exhausting at points, so please go easy on me. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, please take the time to like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time.